Okay, Programming 12, we're going to be creating our heads-up display, but the first thing we're going to have to do is change how our 3D program is drawn. It's not going to be an enormous change. In fact, we won't see really any difference, but we have to restructure the code. Basically, what we need to do is we need to make a new, two new canvases. So normally we draw to the default canvas, but now we're going to have two separate canvases. We're going to have actually two two-dimensional, one two-dimensional and one, I'm not sure what these numbers are, a two-dimensional canvas and a three-dimensional canvas. And then we'll put those canvases and draw them onto the default canvas. So we're going to make two things. And in processing, these are called P graphics objects. And it's essentially a canvas, and we'll have one for all our 3D stuff, and we'll draw that, and then on top of it, we'll draw all our 2D stuff. So I'll make those things right now. I'll scroll down to just above the setup, and I'll make these canvases, or layers you can think of them as. They are going to be our world, and they're called P graphics objects. P graphics world, and we'll make a P graphics object for the heads-up display. That's going to be the the interface layer that has, in my case, has the mini map, and normally in like Minecraft or something, it has your sort of tool or whatever item slots that you can select from, and that kind of stuff. In first-person shooter game, it often has a gun and it's animated and it looks like it's shooting, even though it's just a 2D image. But it can have animation in it as well. Okay, so those are my two canvases. And so now I just have to convert my code to draw all the 3D stuff to the world canvas, and then eventually I'll also create the HUD, the heads-up display. So first, in this video, I'll just worry about converting our code over to display all the world stuff on a separate canvas. In the next video, we'll look at the heads-up display itself. Okay, so scroll down. Before I do anything, I'll just make my layers, my canvases. There we go. So to do that, it's basically just this create graphics. I think it's called create P graphics. I think it's called create graphics. I'll double check. Yeah, that's great. And I want to make it. It's going to be actually like kind of just a square layer. I'm going to make the size of the screen, width, height. And the world will use the P3D rendering engine. The heads-up display will be the same size, although you could make it smaller or bigger, I guess. And it will use the P2D layer, rendering engine, because it's two-dimensional. So we got a two-dimensional layer now and a three-dimensional layer. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to go change over basically all the stuff that's drawn in 3D to be drawn on this world layer. And it won't be hard, but it will be kind of time consuming. And if you miss out on things, then it'll go wonky. So pay careful attention as we go through and see what it is that I add in here. So the first thing I'm going to change is the size function. The size function, I'm going to change the rendering engine to P2D. And the reason I want to do this is because I want to draw two layers just on top of each other. I don't want to rotate these layers or flip them around or anything like that. So technically the overall project is two-dimensional because I'm layering the canvases in a two-dimensional fashion. However, my canvas, the world canvas, is a 3D layer within that 2D space. So overall the project is got this P2D thing, but of course we have the layer that is P3D still. And I don't know if you noticed, but this texture mode normal, that's going to be our first thing that we're going to put into the world. So the way you do any kind of like, hey, draw on the world canvas, you say world dot, and then whatever your drawing type of functions are. Not everything has to be world dot. So for example, things like variables or loops, if statements, like none of that has to be directly tied to the canvas. But anything where you're drawing or changing drawing modes, push and pop matrix, that kind of stuff needs to be done with a particular canvas in mind. Also, it turns out we're going to have to move this. It can't go here anymore. So I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to scroll down, and we're going to go to the draw function. And this is where our major work will begin. So the step one of drawing a canvas is you say world, or whatever your canvas is called, dot begin draw. And then at the very end of all your canvas drawing stuff, so for me that's going to be at the very bottom after my while loop here, you would put world.end draw. And the idea is that all the things in here draw to that canvas and create a two-dimensional picture. It's in 3D, of course, but it's like flattened out to be an image. And then we draw that image to the default canvas. So I'd say something like this: image world 00, just to say, it's drawn and in the corner. So basically, because it's width and height, that'll take up the whole screen. The image function draws the world into our 2D project. But it's 3D itself, so I hope that makes any sense. We're going to go and now add world to basically everything in here that has to do with drawing or 3 dimensions. So this will work. So I take world and I say, I'll cut and paste this basically, and just put it in front of all these things like background, lighting, camera. And now I have to go to draw floor, draw map, and move and do anything in there. And also in my objects as well. So I have to add world to all those things. And when I'm done that, I'll be in pretty good shape. So hopefully I just won't break anything. If I do, we'll go back and fix it. And if you do, then just carefully watch the video and see what are all things you need to change. So I've added world to that. I'll go to environment, and I'll add world to anything in here. Mostly that's just textured cube. So I don't have to. I wouldn't put world.textureCube. That's no. But I would put it in front of all this draw axis stuff. I'm not really using draw axis, but I'll just put it here to demonstrate. So things like stroke, stroke weight, line. These are all things that have to be drawn to a particular canvas. The draw floor, again, just uses textured cube. So I'll just change to textured cube, and that will be fine. So I'll go do that now. So textured cube's got a lot. My gosh. It's just world dot. Like almost everything in textured cube is drawing. So I have to put world dot in front of all 24 vertices, and you will as well. So just take a look and see what I'm putting world in front of. I think it's just about everything. I'll mention it if I skip over anything. But so far, I think it's everything. Alright, just bear with me. I know it's kind of boring to watch me copy and paste, but just make sure you're doing it right as well. Don't skip anything. Okay. And then, yeah, there we go. So that was everything. I also have another function, textured cube, that takes 3 images. So I would have to go and put the world in front of this one as well. I'm not using it right now, and I don't want to bore you with me doing that again, so you just go and do yours, and it'll be fine. Basically the exact same thing here. So I'm drawing to the world layer, the world canvas. In interaction, I don't think there's anything here that needs to change. And then in character, this part would need the world in it. That's where I'm drawing that focus circle. I'm actually going to get rid of the focus little sphere thing because we're going to put a crosshair on the heads-up display. So actually, I'll just delete it. We'll see if there's anything in here that needs it. Nope. And also with your moving functions that determine whether you can or cannot move forward, you don't need anything there as well. For your objects, though, they draw, right, in their show functions. Bullet, I don't think draws anything for me because it is using the game object draw function. So I'll just put that in the game object draw function, or show function, I should say. So I'll put that here. And I would also do it, for me, I overrode this for the particle to make it like disappear. So I'll put that for the particle as well. I'll just paste world in front of that. I wouldn't have to do world.lives though. That's a variable. That's not related to the canvas. Just things that are about drawing need to have world in front of it. Okay, so that's I think that's all the things. I'll just confirm I have my world dot begin draw, I have my world dot end draw, and then I actually draw the canvas on the screen. I think that'll work. Let's see. I'll run it and we'll find out. So what I expect to see is just the exact same thing as I would normally see, I guess minus the focus thing. And, oh, not quite. So I've lost all my textures. It looks pretty cool, though. I kind of like it. Can I shoot snowballs? I can shoot a snowball still. So that's nifty. But I don't see my texture, so I'm pretty sure I know why that is. Let's see. Yeah, I didn't do my texture mode. So I'm going to go up to here, and I guess I copied and pasted texture mode, but never pasted it in. So I'll just put it in here now. It's world.texture mode normal, I believe it is. So I forgot to put that in there. Sorry. Let's run that now and see. Does that work? We'll see if we see our textured cubes now with the mossy blocks. Whoa, very dizzying, but there they are. Okay, so basically everything is the same. We're just got standard things that we had saw before, but what's special now is that we are drawing on a image. We're putting that onto an image. Now technically we don't need a heads-up display. We could just start drawing stuff now. But I'm thinking we might want to have one. So for example, because we might have this slide away, or we might want to toggle it, turn it on and off, that kind of stuff. But what I'll do right now is I'll just to test this theory, I'll just put a line function out there. I'll go from width divided by 2, height divided by 2, to I guess I'll make this the crosshair. So I'll go back maybe 20 this way and forward 20 the other way. So that would be one way, and I'll do the same thing, but I'll do it up and down. So it'll be, minus 20 and plus 20. And maybe I'll make the cursor a little bit darker. I'll make it white. I think I have white. And stroke weight, 5 or something. And now I can just draw on top of that image. Let's see. Does it work? Oh, it horribly did not work. But it is being drawn in 2D. What did I do wrong? Width minus 20. Oh, I did width divided by 20. Yeah, that's probably why. Let's try that again. But did you see it was in 2D and drawn on top of things? It wasn't drawn in the 3D world. There we go. Now we can see the crosshair. That's looking pretty good. And we can see that, it lines up with our eye focus point, so things appear to be working properly. We can draw all sorts of stuff on here. I'm going to put this in a heads-up display just for one reason, to practice the graphics, P-graphic stuff, but also because maybe I want it to slide away. Maybe I want a whole bunch of menus that will appear that can slide and be animated separately. I think that'll work out really nicely. So in the next video, we'll take a look at the heads-up display. We'll have the mini-map, and we'll have a like coordinates type of thing. We'll have lots of fun with that. Okay, thanks, Programming 12.